I may, Zephyr Teachout. Most of you, all of you, know her. And it's wonderful to be late because there's such a long walk. And Melanie, can you give me a sense of time?
So, you have 15, 20 minutes.
Right, so I think I'll talk for like 10 minutes and then take some questions, just as a chance.
We do have a question and answer at the end.
At the end, okay, so we'll just, I still think I'm going to talk for 10 or 15 minutes, because I think there's a lot to learn, and we've got to move forward. So, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing people in this room. So before we talk about how we're going to get there, I just want to talk about things that I want, and I suspect that we want. I want clean air and clean water and freedom from poison.
Yes.
That means freedom from fracking and from the fracked gas pipelines and from the fossil fuel industry taking over the Hudson River and this country. I want freedom from the government telling us what to do about our own private reproductive health decisions. I want union power. I want, when I was born, it was 1 in 3 people were members of a union, and now it's closer to 1 in 10. And I want to be out there talking about the right to organize and collectively protecting the right to organize. I want to live in a society where 1 in 5 people are making or growing something. I want to live in a world where people are not discriminated against on the basis of their religion or their race. And I want fully funded, truly public education. Public schools, public roads, public libraries, public post offices, and the public good.
Public health.
And that's not what we got right now. So, just to, you know the crisis, but I want to talk briefly about the degree of the crisis, because we not only do not have these basic things that so many of us, Republican or Democrat, want. We have a president who is violating the most basic premises and institutions of our country, starting with the truth.
True.
As Hannah Arendt, who spent a lot of time in Dutchess County, I always love being right around here, because this is actually where the Teachouts are from. This is where we moved to in the 1690s. Abraham Titsort ended up Abraham Teachout, about 4 miles from here. But Hannah Arendt, who spent a lot of time in Dutchess County, said, politicians and the truth have always had an awkward relationship. But she also said the greatest danger is when facts start to get treated like opinions. Because then there is no basis for genuine political discussion. And we have not only a president, but a presidential staff that is willing to lie openly, repeatedly, without shame, violating the most basic trust that any politician has or any administration has. We have a president who is openly violating our most basic constitutional premises with his discriminatory and bigoted and unconstitutional executive order. We have a president who is also, by the way, making money off his executive order in the DAPL, because we don't think he sold his hedge fund interests. We look at sold his stock interests. And then the thing that I've been involved in is I'm one of the lawyers representing CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, because we have a president who is violating a sort of sacred provision of our Constitution that says that if you are an officer of the United States, you may not get payments and benefits from foreign governments. It's called the Emoluments Clause. And Donald Trump right now, in 4 ways, is getting paid by foreign governments. The Trump Tower in New York City, 2 of the tenants, including the Chinese government, through the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, are governments, are foreign governments with whom we are engaged in trade relationships. He's also making money, we've probably heard more about, is the diplomats staying at his hotels. He's also making money from foreign governments through The Apprentice and the new Celebrity Apprentice, because the royalties in at least 2 countries, the UK and Vietnam, come from government-owned entities. And he's getting substantial benefits in Saudi Arabia, India, possibly Russia. We can't trust him because so far he's been untrustworthy. and several other countries around the world, including China, because those governments are either giving him permits or not giving permits. So he is taking money and benefits from countries with whom we are in serious negotiations on trade and have to negotiate delicate relations in war and peace. This is a fundamental violation of the Constitution. It's a blatant violation. His lawyer's response makes no sense. We're confident this case is going to go forward. But it's also a violation of a most fundamental trust of loyalty, that when you are in office, you will actually represent the public and not your own private interests. But that's not the only crisis. I mean, one of the reasons we're all here today is we also have a Republican Congress and Senate that so far has been so greedy in their rush to dismantle the ACA, in their rush to dismantle Dodd-Frank, in their sort of anarchic rush to dismantle government, that they are willing so far to put their own whatever loyalties and trust that they should have in our government second, and allow Donald Trump to violate these basic faiths. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you should not want a president who lies. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you should not want a president who violates the Constitution. And today, when Donald Trump said about a judge who put a stop to his order, that was a so-called judge. He's challenging the real premise of the rule of law in this country. And I would expect and hope, and we should all expect and hope and never stop expecting, that our representatives wouldn't just be silent until you come to their door, but would be openly standing up and saying, that is wrong. So we are here today because we have to call on people other than Donald Trump to stand up, including our representative, John Faso. I know, I don't feel good about it either. There's a bunch of reasons that FASO is important, but I want to just say briefly something, because I know a lot of you have been doing extraordinary work. And so this is sort of exciting to be at the beginning of history when history has already started. Seeing the incredible work that is already happening, the impact it's already had. So I want to say two things. One is when you get together in meetings, I have something to beg of you. Spend time talking about how angry you are. Spend time talking about what is wrong with Donald Trump. Spend time, if you want, talking about how you would be messaging things differently. Complaining about the National Democrats, if that's what you want to do that. All those things are legitimate. But make sure that you don't count that time as your activism. Does that make sense? That's like cookie tea time. And as I was saying at Bill McCabe's office, Facebook office the other day, Demosthenes said this, many years BC about Philip II of Athens. Don't spend all your time talking about whether he's sick or not. He's about to attack Athens. Go fight him. So we just have to be careful that our activism is real, and some of it's going to be hard, and some of it's going to be boring, and all of it is going to be satisfying because you know you're standing up for a country. The second thing I'd say is that we in the 19th Congressional District have a unique opportunity to impact national policy. As you may know, I lost the 19th Congressional District, and not by a point. I lost it, over 7 points, right? So not there's a margin there. But this district was a district that 4 years ago, Barack Obama won by 7 points. And then last year, Donald Trump won by 7 points. So you see a 14-point swing in one district. And John Faso knows that. And the National Republicans know that. This district can move in a heartbeat. And it can and will move back if we continue to be engaged. So we have unique leverage because it is one of the closest, swingiest, craziest districts in the country. And if you have any doubt about that, you could read the recent reports about John Faso talking with great fear about how if defunding Planned Parenthood was made part of the ACA, those funders on the left would be a danger. that is the language of somebody who is scared. That is somebody who's aware that they're in a fragile position. So that's one reason that we have a special power in this district. Everybody in the country has power, but being in a swing district, you have more power. The second is that he is playing a key architectural role in the ACA. And he is on one of the key committees, and we've even heard him being quoted in discussions about the ACA. And so that when you ask, and if he says he's not a key architect, well, we'll hear him on that. But I bet if you ask, he's not going to deny it. But this is really important because the sort of soulless, cruel effort to take away people's health insurance, instead of what we should be doing, which is taking away the excessive power of Big Pharma and actually getting our prices down, that effort, we have special leverage on here. So we have special leverage for two reasons. I'm really excited about the training. I've seen it before. I think there's incredible things that Indivisible brings, and the training is really helpful. But I just want to remind those of you that the lessons you're about to learn are lessons that we know in New York really, really well. Because they're lessons about, one, working in groups as opposed to individuals, coming together in groups, meeting in person. The phone calls are great. I do believe the phone calls allow our representatives to get a sense that there's energy there, but actually having in-person events with representatives at in-person events that are constant, consistent, and don't stop after just 2 months or just a few weeks are going to be really, really important parts of what we do, as well as focusing on a few different things. And the reason that we in New York have a special experience with this, and many, many people in this room were part of that, was the fracking ban in New York. The fracking ban in New York did not happen because the national environmental groups came in and said, we're going to figure out how to stop fracking. It wasn't that at all. So don't wait for the national groups to save you, right? It happened because local communities made sure that there was nowhere that Andrew Cuomo ever went without being able to see fractivists standing up, carrying sheaths of science and stories from the heart and saying, we need this. He was dreaming about those fractivists, all those spaces. And it wasn't 1 year, it wasn't 2 years, it wasn't 3 years, it was 5 years of showing up. And he said it was impossible, and everybody thought the fracking ban was impossible. But it happened in New York because of people in groups being persistent, staying on the issue, learning as you go, and learning how to interact as you go, which you're all going to do. And we have the opportunity to do the same thing. The other reason that I have a lot of confidence is I actually, in the sort of Tea Party era, went to a lot of Tea Party events. And I was interested. I mean, I'm an organizer. I'm always interested. And one of the things that you see is the next time we meet, or maybe in 2 months, we're going to have another meeting, and I'm going to ask you all to engage in county legislature. But you see that the work that you are doing now is about more than just stopping something. It's about building something. Because while you are organizing to stop John Faso from being the architect undermining our basic rights to health care, you are also building community that is part of building a Dutchess Democratic and a Hudson Valley Democratic community, part of building the revolution on the Hudson. So, I see this as this is the revolution on the Hudson. Louder, yes! This is the revolution on the Hudson. How's that? And are you ready for it to be hard? Yes! Are you ready for it to be boring? Yes! Are you ready for it to be really exciting? Yes! Are you ready to actually show that we in the Hudson Valley can show every district around the country what it looks like when everybody is active and everybody takes greater responsibility in a moment of crisis? Yes! And if you have an interaction with John Faso or one of his staff and you leave feeling schooled, like, I didn't know all that, and you didn't have an impact, you did, because you're part of learning how to have an impact, right? So are you ready to go through that learning process, which is going to take time? Yes. Okay, great. All right, well, thank you. I am so proud to extraordinary group.